All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Florida Coastal webinar series. Thank you for being here. We have yet another great webinar prepared for you today. It is my pleasure to be joined by two of my colleagues as our guest speakers. They are both expert professionals in their fields with tons of experience. First, we will have Mrs. Megan Shade, our Senior Admissions Counselor here in the Office of Admissions, talk to us about the 5 do's in preparing your law school application. After that, we will have Mr. Tony Cardenas, the Dean of Admissions himself, to tell us about the 5 things to avoid when preparing your applications. Both Megan and Tony are extremely knowledgeable in their field, so I encourage you to take advantage of their knowledge and experience and ask as many questions as you can possibly have. That will also help us tailor these webinars to your needs, which is ultimately what we're trying to achieve here. Now, without any further ado, here is Megan Shade. Megan, take it away.
Great, thank you, Eunice. Can you guys still hear me? All right, my guess is going to be that you can hear me, so I will go ahead and get started. So today I'm here to talk to you about the 5 do's of your application. And this is anything from the application itself, as well as just how should you be preparing to start your application? What should you be doing? What steps should you take? So I'm going to do this in reverse order. I'm going to start with number 5 and work towards number 1. With the just top things that I think are most important when we're looking at your application and when you're trying to decide what you should be doing and what you should provide to the committee. So my number 5 is attention to detail. This is done in a lot of different ways. First, proofread your application. Everything that you submit to us from your letters of recommendation, which you can't really proofread those, but you want to make sure you're choosing somebody that those will look polished and clean for you. And you also want to ensure that you're proofreading your resume, your personal statement, and that you're answering any and all questions that are posed to you throughout the application. So this could be, character and fitness questions to specific questions about enrollment in your university. You just want to ensure that you are reading all of those questions in their entirety and then giving the best answer that you can. I recommend going back and looking through this a couple times because you might misread a question the first time and you just want to make sure that you're answering it correctly. This is going to save you time because when we process your application, if we find something that needs corrected, we got to reach back out to you. It doesn't get into review as fast as you would like it. So I recommend that you really pay attention to detail. So that's number 5. So number 4, this one's going to seem a little weird and might make you feel a little uncomfortable at first, but you really need to think about who you are asking to write your recommendation letters. Now you're thinking, okay, so I'm going to ask the supervisor and I'm going to ask a faculty member and people who know me best. Well, yeah, but to us that might seem like, okay, yeah, this is going to happen. That's exactly what I'm going to do. But you really need to think about how well do those recommenders know you. You really need to ask them, are you going to write me a good recommendation letter? Because it's not going to help you very much if they agree to write it and then say, oh, they're really weak in a writing area or something. They talk more about your weaknesses and your strengths because your letters of recommendation want to shine. It is one thing that unfortunately you don't have a lot of control over. Someone else is writing those, so you can't see what they're saying. So you need to be pretty honest up front with them and just ask questions. Provide them with your resume, provide them with a little bit of more information about yourself so that they can be best prepared to write those letters for you. So number 4 is to vet those recommenders and make sure you know who you have writing those letters for you. Number 3, start your application early. Now, this might seem common sense to you, but there's a lot of things that come into play when you're working on your application that can impact the timing of when we actually receive it. So some things to think of are, we're just talking about those letters of recommendation. Your professors, your supervisors, everybody who's working on that for you, they're going to be really busy just like you are. So there could be a point where you're expecting a letter, but it takes them a lot longer to get it to you. So what I recommend is start early. Reach out to them. Let them know that you want them to write your recommendation. Also, the other thing that holds up applications is transcripts. So get in that request early. Let your school know, hey, I'm going to be applying to these schools. I need to get this information in. Can you please get this information together in there? Because we don't want you just waiting on a letter of recommendation or waiting on a transcript, and that could impact your application. The other thing is start this before you take the LSAT. You might say, okay, I'm applying for fall 2017. I'm not taking the LSAT until December or February. That's okay. Start getting all of the information together now. All of our applications are open, so you can go ahead, start applying, get all of your information together so that when your score comes in, your application can go right into review and you can get a decision. So number 3, start your application early and be prepared to begin that application and continue adding all of the important documents to it as you move forward. So the last 2 are ones that are really important to me as a reviewer when I'm looking at your application as to what I want you to really highlight for us. So number 2 is positivity in your personal statement. Your personal statement is really one of the only parts of your application that you have complete control over. You get to decide what to write about, you get to decide what to tell us, and really take advantage of that. Your personal statement should be positive. So if you have anything that you want to tell us about that might be, regarding a low LSAT score, or you're not proud of a semester in undergrad and the GPA that you had, save that for an addendum and make that personal statement positive. Show us why you're going to be successful in law school. Show us why you want to go to law school. There's so many great things that you can talk about in a personal statement, and I encourage you to take advantage of that. Let us get to know you, because what happens is me as a reviewer, or Tony or Eunice or anyone else from our team that's looking at your application, the committee, we have to be the person that becomes you to sell you as the potential candidate to start law school with us. So we now become your voice. So by being able to share a story with us, sharing who you are and what you want to do with a law degree, we can then take that positive experience and transform that into who you are as a person. This is why we want so-and-so to be a student at our institution. So your personal statement should remain positive, and it should tell us about why you want to go to law school and really what you're going to do with your law degree. So my last and number 1 due for your application is passion throughout your application. I want to see passion from the answers you give on the application itself, to your personal statement, to your resume, to the letters of recommendation that we receive. We want to know why you want to go to law school and that you're passionate about it. And we want to see that throughout everything that we receive, because passion is really going to fuel what you do as a law student. It's going to fuel what you're able to do as an attorney. So we need to see that from day 1. So we really have to see that passion throughout your application, throughout your interactions with us, as you decide where you want to go to law school, and as you're kind of navigating the whole process itself. Really show us that passion. So those would be my 5 do's of the application. So to review them one more time here. Number 5, attention to detail. Number 4, vet your recommenders. And I know it sounds crazy, but you can definitely let them know what your opinion is. 3, start your application early. 2, show positivity in your personal statement. And number 1, please show us passion throughout your application. So I see Tony and Eunice are back on here, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over for things that you should not do on your application.
Well, thank you very much, Megan. As I mentioned earlier, those were extremely valuable tips. Now, for what to avoid on sending in your applications, I want to send us all to the Dean of Admissions, our fearless leader, Mr. Tony Cardenas. Tony, take it away. It's all yours.
Good day. I hope everybody's doing well. I get to talk about the don'ts of a law school application. So these are some things that I've seen come across my desk that probably aren't going to help your application a whole lot if you do this. So these are just, I guess, some warnings and maybe some guidance on what you should do and what you should avoid. And I thought Megan did an excellent job of explaining what she looks for in an application. That's what we train all of our admission staff here at Florida Coastal School of Law to look for in an application. And we want to always make sure that we're making the right fit for our students, and the application process is the very first stage in getting you to that point. So the 5 don'ts for law school application. Number 1, letter of recommendation from your family and friends. Do not, please, and I repeat, do not ask for a letter of recommendation from your mom or your dad. Grandma and grandpa, aunts and uncles are also not good, and we tend to see this in certain applications. Sometimes this comes across. Also, sometimes we have neighbors that are asked to write letters of recommendation, and they start out with, "Well, I've known Susie for so many years. I think she's a really great person, and I would really highly recommend her for law school." Of course, moms and dads aren't going to write bad letters of recommendation. Grandma and grandpa, I think it's almost impossible for one of them to write a bad letter of recommendation. So look for someone who can talk about your work ethic. Look for someone who can talk about how you perform in the classroom. Look for someone that can talk about your work in the classroom or your work at a job. It could be at a law firm. It could be an attorney. It could be your professor in an upper level English course commenting on how well you write in a professional setting, things like that. I also like to see anecdotes instead of adjectives. That's kind of what I keep in the back of my mind. I want a letter of recommendation to talk about an experience that your supervisor might have had with you at work. Susie Smith was put in charge of all East Coast publications for a 6-month period, and we saw a rise in sales, and she stayed late and worked hard, and her work was second to none. That tells me a lot about Susie at that time. So a letter of recommendation coming from a strong source can definitely be a difference maker in an application. And, do not ask for one from a family member. I can't repeat that one enough for everybody. So number 2, do not mention another law school in your application or personal statement. You would think that this would go without saying, but unfortunately, it doesn't always happen. I know you're applying to other law schools, and we definitely support that, and so do all the other law schools in the country. You want to make sure that you're applying to schools that you feel are going to be a good fit for you. But what we want to know is that the application you're filling out for Florida Coastal was done with the effort all law school applications deserve, that you're applying to Florida Coastal or you're applying to any one of the 206 other ABA accredited law schools in the country, that when you're filling out this application, what you're doing is you're taking the time and the effort, you're personalizing that personal statement. You're saying, this is why I think I'm going to be a good fit for Florida Coastal School of Law. This is where my passion lies. This is what I want to do. These are the things that resonated with me. 1, 2, 3, 4 that Florida Coastal has that's going to help me get from where I'm at today to achieving my dream of being an attorney. And it could be a family law attorney. It could be a criminal defense attorney. It could be any type of attorney, but can Florida Coastal get you to that point? Make that connection in your personal statement. Students really look lazy in my eyes, and I'm gonna throw out the word lazy if you make this mistake. And obviously, lazy does not work in law school. It's tough. It's going to be tough, and if you're looking to take an easy way out, or if you're looking for a shortcut, you're definitely looking at the wrong type of school to do that in. Send the right message from the very beginning. make sure your application is as perfect as you can get it. Work very, very hard on that personal statement and keep little mistakes out, because we're gonna ask you for another personal statement. It's a policy of the admissions office, so you can get that note saying, look, they usually end with, I think I'm going to be a great fit at so-and-so law school. Well, that's not my law school, and I want to know that you're going to be a good fit at Florida Coastal School of Law. So we do read every personal statement. We're going to read it all the way to the very end, and we want to make sure that you put in that time and that effort, that you're going to be an awesome fit for us. So one more thing to remember. Number 3, do not start your personal statement with a famous quote. And this is something that's always kind of bothered me, and a lot of students like to do this, and I'm not sure if there's a book out there that says that this is a good idea. And maybe this is only a personal thing on my part, but I want to hear your voice first. I want to feel your drive through your words and not someone else's. I want to know who you are from the very first word in that personal statement all the way down to the very last word. I want to get to know you as a person, because we probably, there's a chance we might have met on the road. We could have talked for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes at a college fair or law school fair. But then when we get that application, we're going to get a lot more information on you, including your resume and your personal statement and all of your grades and transcripts. I really want to get to know you. I don't need to get to know Abraham Lincoln or George Washington or any other famous founding father. Those guys are great. I'm sure they are, and that they're great for a ton of reasons, but I want to know why you're great. I want to know what separates you from the next application I'm going to read. I want to know why I should admit Susie again to Florida Coastal School of Law, and I want to hear your voice throughout that personal statement. So don't start with your personal statement with a famous quote. So they're nice and that's great, but I'm looking to hear from you. I'm looking to get a feel for you and why you want to come to Florida Coastal, why you want to be an attorney, why you want to study law. So yeah, write that one down. That's always a good one and a good thing to keep in mind. Number 4, not showing us your passion not showing us when your passion for law began on your resume. Now at Florida Coastal, we ask all of our students to submit a professional resume. What we want to do is we try to see beyond the skills and qualifications to understand what drives a law school candidate. Why do you want to be an attorney? Why do you want to study law? Why do you want to pursue this as a career? Why do you want to spend the next 3 years working extremely hard to go after a career? What is the drive, and where did that passion? You have to have a passion. Where did that come from? It takes real devoted energy to be a law school student, and you're going to be going to that well a lot while you're here. So where is that on the resume? Where was that work? Did you work at a law firm? Did you volunteer at a law firm? Did you volunteer at a legal organization or an immigration law clinic or anything like that? Have you done any type of work at the undergraduate level, or are you doing anything right now that shows us that you have a passion for the law? I like an applicant that is driven and passionate about this, about wanting to go to law school. I want to know how you got that way. Was it a mentor? Was it a boss? Was it a supervisor? Was it somebody in your life that drove you into this direction, and you're like, yes, I want to be that. I want to do that. I want to create the change in my neighborhood or in my city or in my world, whatever that is. So I highly recommend, if you can, on your resume, to find that and show that to us. One other way, and a lot of people just throw in their resume, and I really think that's a mistake. I think showing me that passion and taking that resume to the next level will separate you on any application, anywhere. And just as a little foreshadowing, we're probably going to do a webinar specifically on your law school application resume. So we're going to get that out. We're probably going to go over, I see Brian, already had a question. Is there a template for the perfect or best resume? And how should it look aesthetically? We're going to go over all of those things, Brian. I'm sorry. I thought that was Brian. I'm sorry. It's Bria. We're going to get all of that out there. We're going to put that together, and we can actually get you that information too. There are a lot of different templates out there, but really what we're going to look for is a personal section, your personal interests. So if you can add that into a chronological resume. You know, give me something at the end or something at the beginning where your passion lies and how you got to that point. It's just another addition. It doesn't have to be a full personal statement, but I think that if it could be included at the end, something, because I'm always looking for that. I'm looking for that when I'm hiring somebody in my office. I'm looking for that when I'm reading that application. You know, if I can find that section on your personal interest and what drove you to this, I think that would definitely be the direction you'd want to go. So definitely keep that in mind when putting together your resume. And like I said, be on the lookout. We're going to be doing a webinar. Eunice will be getting that information out to everybody, kind of talking about specifically this, how to display that passion in that resume and not to overlook this portion of the application, because sometimes I think it is overlooked and it's forgot. And number 5, this is the big one, not doing adequate research before you apply to law school. This is your life. This is your money, your education, and most importantly, your future. Just because someone you know had a great experience at such and such a law school doesn't guarantee that you will. Just because it's a top rank program doesn't mean it's the best program for you. Just because it's a program that, oh my gosh, it's close to home. Just because it's a program that's Ivy League, or just because it's a program that has this or this, make sure you're making the right fit. Did you come to visit the institution during the application process or even before the application? Have you contacted current students and recent graduates? Have you thoroughly reviewed information on the curriculum and faculty? Everybody says, yes, you know, all 1L curriculum is the same across the board, but what are we doing our second year, our 2L year, and our 3L year that separates Florida Coastal from other law schools or from the law school that you're looking at? Shows that you spent some time thinking about what you really wanted out of your law school experience. Do I want to be in a big city? Do I want to be in the South? Do I want to be someplace where the student-to-teacher ratio is 14 or 15 to 1? Do I want professors that have taught or studied in this area and are doing research in this area? Do the research on the schools and don't pick a school just because you live close to it. There are several times where we'll be talking to an applicant and saying, yeah, I've decided to stay closer to home. Okay, great, you stay closer to home, but is that law school really the right fit for you? How do we get to know it's the right fit? Go and visit. Talk to me, talk to Eunice, talk to Megan, talk to your pre-law advisor, and sit down and chat with our faculty. Talk to our faculty members. We have excellent faculty here, as does every law school, but I really think if you sit down and you can make that connection with somebody at the law school, somebody like a professor, somebody from the admissions office. You start building that relationship, and then you can start seeing yourself at Florida Coastal, which I think is the key here during the application process. So, oh yeah, this, you know, just looking at here's the U.S. News and World Report. This school is ranked here, and it's close to home. I'm applying there, and you've never set foot on that campus. Get to know the school. Get to know their alumni. Every school has tremendous alumni. Are they the same type of students as you? Were they like you when they went there? Were they different when they came out? What are the similarities? How can I feel like this is the right school for me? So not doing adequate research is one of the biggest mistakes I think that any student can make during the application process. So that's a don't. Don't miss out on that step. Do the research. Make sure that this is a good feel and a good institution for you. We know if you were to ask the students here, a lot of them are going to tell you, you know, I visited campus and it just felt right. It really just felt right. After meeting the people, after meeting the students, after meeting the professors, this was the school for me. So we're going to understand if it's not. If you come back and say, Tony, it was great. I think you're a nice guy, which I'm sure that's what you're going to say. And then you're going to say, but I don't think the school is a good fit for me. We're going to say, okay, we understand. We'll help you any way we can through this process. We want to make sure it's a good fit, a place that you can see yourself staying for 3 years. So we're not just talking, you know, the application process is the beginning. 3 years from now when you graduate, we're close to the end. We're going to prepare you for the bar, and then you're going to become an alumni and a successful attorney no matter where you're at. So I think that is it for me. We do look forward to getting to know you, especially in the future and through the application process. And I'm going to turn it back over to you, Eunice. All yours.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Tony, and thank you all for attending this webinar. The attendance to these webinars have been growing as of late, which is great to see, and it shows us that we are doing what we are supposed to be doing. Before I let you all go, and while I'm talking now, if you have any other questions, we're still going to be here for another couple of minutes. So please do type them on the side. I see that Chatris, if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, I apologize. Go ahead, Chatris, if you have a question. I just wanted to mention, like Tony said, we will have more of these webinars coming up. They do come up bi-weekly on the Wednesdays and at 12 at noon. A list of all those webinars will be up on our website soon, within a couple days or so, but you will also receive emails indicating of the subjects, and all of them, very similar to this one, are going to be very informative. Chatris is asking, I want to know if I could send you my resume before I apply. Send us an email, Chatris. Send me an email, or any of us an email, and we can definitely help you with that for sure. Which brings me to the point, if in the meantime, between these webinars, if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate. Contact our Office of Admissions. Contact me, Megan, other counselors, and we'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. Email us, give us a call. We're here to help you for sure. I see that Megan and Tony are helping me with answering the questions on the side. Well, thank you very much. As you see, Megan wrote down the email. The email is admissions@fcsl.edu. So please do send in your questions. We are here every day of the week just to help you, just to make the application process a little smoother for you guys. Once again, thank you very much to our very knowledgeable guest speakers today, Mr. Cardenas and Mrs. Shade. And thank you all for attending, and we all look forward to seeing you again. If there is no other question, I see that there isn't. All right, well, I say goodbye here from Philadelphia, from our office in Jacksonville, and look forward to seeing you again soon in a couple weeks. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.